So this is, as you said, a lot of, I've seen some other social media large companies like who owners and within this same industry, some who, well, none of them, I should say, are really, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, are any of them really sort of supporting TikTok or on their side? Because a lot of them are facing their own battles. It's a very small group of producers in terms of the industry, whether we're talking about Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Facebook. Some of these this people who are in charge, the CEOs, are not necessarily against banning TikTok, but as you're kind of implying or saying, it's to their competitive advantage to have TikTok out of the picture, but who knows what that will mean.
Yes. I mean, again, you have Meta and you have Google through YouTube and others who, advertising is going to get diverted to them. So they're going to make more money. And again, you have the Department of Justice and the US Federal Trade Commission challenging both of those companies in federal court as monopolists. You also have the chair of the FTC who came out, I think it was in March, the end of March, saying she was opposed to having national champions. And one concern is by banning TikTok, you are creating and enhancing that monopoly power and those national champions. So
what does that mean?
just
Could
doesn't
you explain that? Could you explain that a little further? What are national champions? What does that mean?
So again, I'll have to, defer to the chair of the Federal Trade Commission. She issued a statement talking about national champions, talking about those companies, that are, from the U.S. who are embedded and have, a large market share and control large portions of the market. Some would suggest that Meta and Google are those exact companies, and they're the ones that will benefit from the elimination of competition that TikTok provides.
And in the US, when you handle TikTok's antitrust issues, of course, that's if anything does come up, what sort of, they're a Chinese company and they're one of the newest major players in this market. What sort of issues do they run up against trying to make sure that their stake in the US market remains and they don't have antitrust issues or anything like that? Is that something that's come into play for them?
So I work at a global firm. Clifford Chance is a global firm for sure, and we do advise on antitrust. I can't really disclose the nature of that, advice, et cetera. But suffice it to say, I think if you look at the market dynamics, and anybody could do that, whether you're working for one of the companies that operate in this marketplace or not, you'd see a highly concentrated market of platforms. And again, it's the reason that the Federal Trade Commission and the US Department of Justice are challenging those platforms as monopolists. There are two cases that have been filed against Google and one against Meta. The state attorneys generals have actually followed on and filed suits as well. So those platforms, are being questioned by our antitrust authorities, or throughout the U.S. in terms of their market power. Eliminating one competitor from that, competitive environment will have significant ramifications. So yes, we have to balance our national security. I don't want to sound like I am not, conscious of the national security implications, the idea that there is some sort of classified information that would show something. I mean, we see that from the US senators who were speaking on camera, yesterday. But at the same time, I think the competitive concerns here should also come into play. And then, as I said, who's able to buy TikTok without antitrust issues? It's, as you said, a lose-lose.
Right.
And why wouldn't we think about, if there's privacy concerns, national security concerns, why wouldn't we have privacy legislation or some sort of privacy regime out there that would actually, apply and protect our data across any platform?
And that makes the most sense. I mean, because that's a huge concern for a lot of consumers and attorneys who work in that space in terms of privacy and how it's handled.